Hey everyone, welcome to Teal Town USA for the Sharks versus Colorado Avalanche. This is fan appreciation night. We're gonna jump immediately to Erik and Pucka and AJ. Erik, how are you doing?
Good evening, Sharks fans, and what a regular season end here. The Sharks with a 5-2 victory over the Colorado Avalanche. We are live in the tank. Erik Kuhre, AJ Strong here. AJ, your thoughts from tonight's game overall?
I'm incredibly shocked. The Sharks have won a game, people. They've actually won 2 in a row. I think we might have to start setting up the parade tomorrow. No, I'm kidding. I mean, look, let's be well. Here's the whole thing. What happened with Dallas? Because it all happened. Oh wow, we're silhouettes. That's fantastic. It all came down to what happened with the Dallas Stars earlier tonight. Did Colorado have something to play for? Either way, doesn't matter. Whether Colorado gets the first wild card or the second wild card, they're in. But the Sharks finished decently. Erik Carlsson, your thoughts?
Well, he has a great first name. I'll say that for sure. But I thought he played all right. I thought he moved really good. I thought he played excellent, moving the puck really nicely. Maybe a little rust off because it's been a month.
That's expected after being a month off.
Right. So we kind of expected that to happen. But overall, I thought this was a fantastic performance for a team that needed a fantastic performance tonight.
A good performance by a team that needed a good performance, especially strong at home. And you also take into the fact that, yet again, Martin Jones has proven his wily skill at being able to let in a goal within the first 5 minutes. Hopefully something that we will not see in the playoffs. We hope for that. But this is a hurdle that, and no, not Tomash, this is a hurdle that continues to get in the Sharks' way, and hopefully they can figure out a way to get over that hump every single game if it continues. But as you can see, we're kind of clearing out here because, hey, now, we got playoff hockey coming in here. That's what I'm talking about, playoff hockey. We'll find out tomorrow at 7 a.m. if the Sharks start on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday. Who knows? But we're going to find out then. But tonight, you know what? The guys that I think we all expected to score, scored. Hertl was involved. Kane got his 30th. Brent Burns, of course, always in the mix. So, I mean, we're feeling good about this. Wow, look at him. He's so prepared. We even made a deposit. We had a deposit, people. The ATM was with us.
Yeah, things got going really early. Unfortunately, it didn't start out too well. 2:56 in. Tyler Jost with his 11th from Girard and Johnson. Unfortunately, the first goal that you give up. But, hey, if that's the first goal and then you okay, I'm okay with that. 7:25 in. Burns gets it in from Hertl at 7:25. He's got to be in the nomination for the Norris.
I'm telling you, I still feel like it's Giordano's to lose. I hate to say it, but you look at Calgary and what's happened, I feel like it's Giordano's to lose, and I don't think he's lost it.
Remains to be seen for sure. I mean, I think it's going to be a really interesting one down the road, folks, with this one. And there might be a snub, I think. You have Hedman, you have Giordano, Burns, you know.
Hedman's fine with his President's Trophy.
That's true. That's true. At 11:15, Evander Kane gets his 30th of the season from Nyquist and Dillon. That gives the Sharks, for the first time, if I'm correct, 4 30-goal scorers: Hertl, Kane, Meyer, and Pavelski. Gotta love the spreading of the scoring.
Did you just say Hertl, Meyer, and Pavelski?
Yes. Hertl, Meyer, Kane, and Pavelski all have 30 goals.
Oh, all have 30 goals. I thought you were referencing Meyer as if he played tonight. Okay, you were confusing me. Yeah, so show me another team that has, you know, hello, raise your hand back on October 3rd, you're like, oh, yeah, you know what? Hurdle, Kane, all these guys are going to be 30-goal scorers. Now, let's be honest. When the Sharks traded for Kane, we all expected him 30-goal scorer. When they drafted Hurdle, 30-goal scorer. Pavelski, after the season he had last year, we know he had the wrist injury or something going on there, and he brought it on in the second half. But this year, the entire year, with the exception of, those 7 games towards the end, the picture of health and just, every waitress's and waiter's, dream for being the best tipper in the league. So
you always make sure you leave a nice tip. And
but out of all those guys, who has a contract coming up next season? It's Timo time.
And Paz perhaps as well. So that finished off the first period, 2-1 after 1. Second period, McKinnon comes in. Bad defensive breakdown there for 41st of the season from Landeskog and Girard to make it 2-2. But then we have a deposit.
We absolutely do. But you know what? I got to go back to McKinnon for a second. Dude, McKinnon's just a great player. Those goals are going to come when you have McKinnon on the ice. He's not Sidney Crosby of the NHL, but he is Sidney Crosby in Colorado. McKinnon's just a great player. Those are going to come. But you know what? The Sharks have proven throughout the majority of this season that they can outscore mistakes like that, something that needs to continue in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, too, especially when they go up against Calgary for Colorado. McKinnon, Landeskog, now that he's back, Rantanen, those 3 guys are going to carry Colorado to as far as they go for sure in this one.
But see, that makes me wonder if Colorado is a different version of the Edmonton Oilers, where they're just a one-line team, or like a 4-guy team when 4 guys are going to represent 65-70% of your offense. I still want to see that matchup. I still want to see it.
It's going to be a good one. Colorado and Calgary. I'm sorry that I know you're kind of like a big Flames fan a little bit, but
I have family in Colorado, but Hockey Jerk and I are a little bit of closet Flames fans, but not when the Sharks are involved. So
I'm just saying Colorado might be in for an upset there.
Could be.
So LeBanc gets in on his 17th from Thornton. Not quite a rocket backhander, but it's how many you score, not how you score.
You look at what LeBanc has been able to pull off with the second half of the season. There's a lot of people saying, trade LeBanc or, what does he have to do to be able to clear mirrors, or because that wasn't going to happen. But what does he got to do? Like, what can we do to replace this guy? And it's one of those things. Joe Thornton makes people better. And he had that opportunity to do that with LeBanc, and he's gotten better. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you, I've been one of those guys where LeBanc, you need to put it on net a little more. But damn, Thornton is school. Sorensen and LeBanc, I don't know that those guys would have had the season they had without Thornton in the pivot with them.
And Thornton with a hell of a year, coming off of what he's dealt with the 2 knee surgeries and everything there. So that made it 3-2. Barry would take a hooking call at 12:38 to kind of finish the second period there. In the middle frame, I noticed, was it me or were they trying to get Donskoy off the Schneid really badly tonight?
How can you not try to get him off the Schneid? There was even some speculation tonight going into this. If you looked at the Sharks writers, whether it's our friend Kurz, our buddy Gackel, or the lovely and talented Shalena, you look at what they were tweeting out about practice. And are we talking about practice? No.
Practice.
They were talking about practice. There was some speculation from the local writers that the Sharks might roll 7D tonight because they wanted Heed to be in and maybe Donskoy to ride the pine. That didn't. But yes, I think you try to do anything you can, especially as you're walking into the playoffs. You want to get a guy's confidence going in the right direction. And Donskoy has credit for one of the biggest goals in Sharks history.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, along with Jamie Baker and Joel Ward, in my opinion. So
absolutely.
So that gets things going into the third period. Soderberg takes an interference call at 140. Sharks didn't pull off anything there. However, number 14, the power of 14 people, Gustav Nyquist just sets up his own space and for Kane and Hurdle there at 5:38, a huge insurance goal, which for down the playoff time, that's something you're really going to need. And that secondary scoring, a huge boost going into the playoffs.
Absolutely. This is the reason why the Sharks went after Nyquist. Clearly, I mean, what was it tonight? 500th NHL game, right? So, and like our friend Hockey Jerk said a long time ago, it's very rare that you get a goose this quickly. You usually have to go through a couple ducks before you get a goose. And goose is all right. So no, Nyquist is, here's the best part about Nyquist. He's turning it on when you expect it. The thing that would have freaked me out is right after the trade deadline, Goose comes in and he's just like, bam, assist, bam, 2 goals, bam, 2 assists, blah, blah, blah. The fact that he started off a little slow but has increased his production as the end of the season has gone on, that's what you're looking for when you make that move. So, hey, Goose, keep doing whatever it is you're doing.
I'm not going to lie here. Maybe he needed to get some more teeth chipped to increase his goal scoring.
You think he's a Stone from Vegas? Is that what it is?
Well, you know, hey, Nyquist, remember, you're doing one thing right. All right. Well, unfortunately, 2 Shark penalties, but the Sharks do a great job on the PK tonight. Pavelski thought he had an empty netter. That was a no. However, as we're setting up, Michael Haley on a breakaway, all alone, literally, bangs home an empty netter, his second of the season, his first coming back as a Shark. And, of course, Burns gets the assist here to finish it off. Let's talk about Martin Jones and a great job he had tonight in a victory. Again, Brody's like, Brody, if you're watching, hashtag 2 or fewer. But, I mean, shoot, man. Jones had a playoff-esque performance there.
Jones was, for the most part, solid. Again, I go back to the beginning of the game. We have to stop this pattern of letting in that early first goal and essentially starting the game down by 1. Let's eliminate that. Now, the fact that, okay, Burns, of course, yeah, give Burns all the points, and twice on Easter. But Michael Haley, I mean, there's so many Haley haters out there. Granted, it's an empty netter with like seconds on the clock. The game is at hand. And yet, you know what? That's what you're looking for from the team. You know, that you're at that point, that's what you're looking for, that you're up by a couple goals. And it's just a case of, you know, here's a guy that needs, you know, could probably use a boost of confidence. And I so appreciated that. I mean, they could have thrown Nyquist out there, you know, like they could have like pushed for some padding of the stats. The Sharks team just kind of embraces those kind of players, and we've seen it before. So the fact that they embrace a player like Haley and say, yeah, man, go out there, go get one. I love that.
And what have we always talked about coming in the playoffs? Secondary scoring, you know.
Well, Michael Haley might be like tertiary.
Hey, but you know what? But it's one of the things we've heard Randy mention it. We've heard Bakes, Hetty. You want to see those guys do those things that they aren't necessarily going to do, but they do them in the playoffs because it's for the cup. So the Sharks win 5-2 in this one. Overall thoughts on tonight? Overall thoughts on the season now that we were wrapped up?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I would have seen a little more Erik Carlsson. He would definitely showed some rust tonight. That's expected after missing a month of play. I hope that he gets a bit more practice time between now and the start of the series versus Vegas. Oh, I'm sorry, Las Vegas. Oh, do I owe 20 push-ups, Brody? We'll talk later. But I want to see that. I'm still a little shocked that Tim Heed, I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at.
Laurel with a very nice donation.
Hey, now. Wow. What? Oh, 80. Does that say 82?
Yes.
What are you, a good Dolben fan?
Chekovich. Chekovich.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, there's been different plays. But anyway, yeah, I would like to have seen a little more from EK65. But again, he's missed a month of play. I just hope that between now and the start of the playoffs, he gets the opportunity during practice, take those full rushes, get some contact in, make sure that he takes a chance on those cuts, make sure the groin is okay. And I think we're fine with that. But I will say I'm a little upset that Tim Heed got scratched. I loves me some Tim Heed. I thought he did an admirable job covering EK65 when he was out. I also want to see those defensive pairs put back together. I want to see Dylan out there with EK65 if Carlsson is healthy. We'll see what DeBoer deploys, but that's it's definitely a pairing that I liked. You saw Dylan's plus minus accelerate when that was happening. You saw Carlsson probably play his best hockey when he was paired with Dylan. So I'm looking for that. But God, can we just start the playoffs tomorrow, please?
We'll find out. We'll find out specifically everything at 7 a.m. I usually don't drink coffee, but I think that's what I'm going to need something, maybe a Silken Splendor from, I don't know. Do we have a coffee sponsor?
Do we have a coffee sponsor? No.
Okay, so
camera, no.
Coffee sponsors if you're looking to sponsor with the Sharks and Barracuda, we're helping them out right now. So just putting that out there. Okay.
And we're hoping, just to let you know, if Eric can like bow out of the photo for a second. No, bow out. You can see behind us, they're taking photos on the ice. And we're going to work with the Sharks. I can't promise anything, but we're going to work with our buddy that maybe next time we do a Teal Town USA Day, maybe we could all do that too after a game. We'll see what happens. I'm just throwing that out there. So with that, I got to get out of here. My wife has been waiting in the car for like 20 minutes. I got to go. But we'll see you following Game 1, Las Vegas versus the Sharks at SAP Center, because home ice. Adios, baby.
All right. Well, thank you, AJ. Get home. I hope you're not in trouble with your wife for leave her in the car the whole time. Al, I'm going to be able to hear you a little bit more now. Now I'm closer to the thing. So
how is the game? How was the atmosphere?
You know what? The atmosphere was unbelievable, Al. I mean, this atmosphere was really crazy, to be honest. It was very much a playoff game. That first goal was a letdown, but once they freaking get Burns and Kane going on, it was unbelievable with the atmosphere. This place was loud. As much as one thing we can always remember is that we can take credit for offering two goal songs from the show, and I've never heard the haze and Get Ready for This more loudly than we did tonight. So it was unbelievable.
I know early in the season it was not really selling out, but it looked like it was a packed stadium, packed crowd, especially for Fan Appreciation Night. Yeah,
it was a great crowd, and pretty much every single section, somebody won something, and the painful one, I sat in 225 row 11 seat 1. Section 225 row 11 seat 11 won a Timo Meier jersey tonight. Oh, but you know what? I'm happy. The Sharks won. They've won 2 in a row. They get some rest. We're all going to rest our voices. The lemon, the hot tea, relax our voices for a little bit, and then Wednesday or Thursday. We haven't heard yet. We'll find out in about 8 hours and 8 hours 25 minutes. We'll find out when we're going. We don't know if it's Wednesday or Thursday, but we will find out for sure right then. So so yeah, and wondering where the who is going to be playing who. Al, do you have that offhand?
I do.
I have to get out of here. And Lacy, if you want to jump, I hate to do this over the air, but Lacy, if you want to jump on and get ready to jump in, because we also have another team that's going to be making the playoffs, and that's the San Jose Barracuda. So, but yeah, if you could tell me who we got, at least in the West, for the series, that'd be great. And I'll try to pull up the chat and see what we can do really quick before we actually do have to get out of here.
Okay. So on the West, you have Calgary and Colorado, Sharks in Vegas, Nashville and Dallas, and Winnipeg and St. Louis. Nashville won their division.
Okay, they finished with 100 points, right?
Yes.
Okay, so folks, that's a huge thing with the Sharks winning outright anyways and Nashville winning the division. The Sharks are now the number 2 seed overall in the West. What does that mean per se? Well, yes, because you go through your division, it doesn't mean too much. But if the Sharks do advance to the Western Conference Final, they would have home ice. So that's going to be very interesting to see down the road here. And you just never know. But wow, Nashville, Dallas, St. Louis, and Winnipeg, Calgary, Colorado, Vegas, San Jose. Oh my.
And then on the East, you have the Lightning, Columbus, which is probably going to be a really entertaining series. Boston and Toronto, which was expected. Capitals and Hurricanes, which is probably going to be a Twitter series, knowing how things are shaping up. And then the Islanders and the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. Sidney Crosby going up against New York. That's pretty good. That'll be interesting to see there. I think everybody's pinning on Toronto and Boston. I think that'll be quite interesting there indeed. So, it's going to be fun. This is the time of the year. Chat, I also want to hear you. I want to ask you, do I go full playoff beard or should I go with something different since it hasn't worked the last 2 years?
All right. So Kevin just jumped on. I think you can probably leave at Puck Guy.
Yes.
But thank you for doing your quick report at the tank. That was awesome.
Thank you, Al. Guys, it's a pleasure. We've done 82 of these. We're hoping at least 16 more wins till June to get things done. And Al and Kevin will take it over here. Kevin, congratulations on the Kuhre clinching a playoff spot. I can't wait. This place is going to be hockey heaven. And if you guys don't think that San Jose or Teal Town, USA isn't a hockey territory, just wait, folks. We're going to be blown away as to how crazy this place can be. So with that, I'll leave it to Al and Kevin. You guys take it over from here. Have a great night and keep it real. Keep it Teal. Keep it real, Teal. I'll see you tomorrow morning when the schedule is revealed right here on the YouTube channel. Have a good one, guys.
All right. See you, Kevin. All right. 4 straight years.
See ya, Kevin. I'm Kevin.
See ya, Puck Guy. Whatever. I've done 82 of these. I think I deserve 1 or 2 mistakes.
It's true.
But anyways, 4 straight years, the Barracuda have made it to the playoffs, both the Sharks and the Barracuda. Kevin, how are the Barracuda shaping up?
A lot better than they were a couple of weeks ago. The San Jose Barracuda, I think, are finally starting to get their swag back a little bit. They're starting to definitely get their confidence back, which you could tell this was a team for the better part of a month, if not 2 months, that just looked lost, looked like a bunch of rookies who just were kind of like, wow, this is more hockey than we've ever played before, and it's taxing. But now they've kind of like I said, they found their stride. They stopped feeling sorry for themselves. They've been better defensively. They still could be better defensively. Today was a 5-4 win in overtime over Grand Rapids. But the thing that I noticed for the Barracuda here going into the playoffs after they clinched today, these 2 games against Grand Rapids meant the world to them. And you could tell on the ice. I mean, these were important games for Grand Rapids too. Grand Rapids and San Jose were both trying to clinch playoff spots, and only one did. And that was our Barracuda. Kyle Wood had an empty net goal, for example, yesterday. An empty net goal. And the whole team, like not the whole team, but everyone that was on the ice, completely mobbed him, jumping up and down. It's an empty net goal. That's how important these games were. And then with the overtime winner by Lukas Schradil today, it's just really nice to see that they have some confidence. They're beating playoff contending teams again. Because, I mean, those 3 losses in a row to Bakersfield hurt. They beat Bakersfield last weekend, I believe it was. And then now these 2 against Grand Rapids. The influx of Ivan Chekhovich, Ivan Chekhovich, and maybe Sasha Chmielewski down the road. Ryan Merkley got assigned today, the first round pick from the Sharks this past summer. He was there signing autographs today, as I posted on Twitter at Kevin Lacy 22. But yeah, the Barracuda are going to be really fun to watch here. As you know, the more confident they are, the more fun they will be to watch. That's for sure, Al.
Do we know who the first round opponent is, or is that still up to debate?
It's definitely up for debate because right now I'm pulling up the standings at the moment, but I know that the 2 teams that have clinched in the Pacific are only Bakersfield and San Jose. With the win today, they now have a 4-point gap lead over San Diego, who is right now the team that the Barracuda would play in the first round. Both teams have 3 games remaining. Tucson has 4 games remaining, and they're sitting in 4th, 1 point up on Colorado. That loss doesn't hurt them as far as their playoff stance goes, but it definitely didn't help, obviously, because they would be in a playoff spot if they had won today. So right now it's a 3-team race for 2 playoff spots, but it's just too early to tell. I think it's going to come down to game 68 to decide who the Barracuda will play in round 1.
Is goal differential going to play any part of this, or is that something that's not part of the AHL playoff system?
No, it is, but I don't think so in this case. The Barracuda have been solid defensively. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the Barracuda are something like 4th in the league or 3rd in the league in goals against. As far as goals for per game, they are about middle of the pack, but I know that San Diego has given up a ton of goals this year, and I think it's really, even though it could still be Tucson or Colorado, I think it'll be San Jose and San Diego. And if it came down to a tiebreaker, I don't think San Diego has. I got to look at the tiebreaker rules again, but I think we would have the edge on that.
So what's kind of like the read on this team? Because this team started off really hot the first, I would say, 2 months, maybe 2.5 months.
Definitely.
And then faltered midway through the season and then picked right up. Would it be disappointing if it's like a first round or second round exit?
Disappointing, yeah, because I mean the way the team started off so hot, and I mean just mind-blowingly hot, to the point where they were first overall in the league until I think the first week of February or something like that, because they just had that huge of a lead to start the year. So yeah, I mean losing in the first round would be very disappointing for this team that had so much promise going in. But if you look at the season on the whole, I guess it'd be disappointing, but not surprising at this point. Hopefully it won't come to that. Hopefully San Jose will, that the Barracuda will come out flying the way they have the last couple of weeks. And especially with, like I said, Ivan Chekhovich, Ryan Merkley, they got Marcus Vela, who's actually looked pretty good. He's on a tryout deal. He's a Sharks draft pick, but it was one of those players that they basically have stashed in the Barracuda because they don't want to use a roster spot. The Sharks don't want to use a roster spot on him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a show me thing for a kid like Marcus Vela, who I think has looked solid on the fourth line for them. But that with TJ Hensick really coming into form, providing veteran leadership. John McCarthy's, of course, a mainstay. They have a nice blend, and I definitely, I don't think there should be anything surprising, especially with the goaltending that the Barracuda have. If the defense holds up, they're gonna get second, third round, at least, hopefully even further. But if the defense falters, if something, if San Diego gets hot, or Tucson is hot right now, if it's them that the Barracuda play, I think all bets are off. And that's why everyone should go check out these games, because they're unpredictable in a good way. They're a lot of fun.
So it seems like scoring is still, it's not an issue, but you can't really depend on it. But the goaltending this year has just been rock solid.
Absolutely. The Barracuda have only pulled their goalie twice this season, and they were both during that horrendous February stretch where the team just couldn't do anything right. I know everyone has been extremely excited for all the right reasons about Josef Korenash this season, a 21-year-old goalie, free agent pickup, didn't even use a draft pick to get him, and he was an all-star. He was great. He's been great. Had a wonderful game last night in the Battle of Czech goalies with Patrick Rebar of Grand Rapids. Antoine Bibeau, though, you look at a game like today, he gave up 4 goals against, but I trust Antoine Bibeau just as much as I trust Josef Korenash. I think that while Bibeau's stats haven't been as jaw-dropping as Korenash's have been, I think Bibeau has played the tougher teams. And when it comes to the goaltending, I know everyone always says, who's going to be the starter? Who is going to be the starter? Why can't both be the starters? I honestly, you can ride the hot hand, but if what's been working for the Barracuda has been the platoon system of Korenash, Bibeau, Korenash, Bibeau, Korenash, Bibeau, why not just keep rolling with that in the playoffs?
Go with what you know. I think a lot of teams in the playoffs, I'm not too familiar with the AHL, but a lot of teams in the playoffs get in trouble when they do something different and get away from their strengths.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's, I'm trying to think of what year it was. But I know there was a year with, it must have been 06 with Nabi and Toskala. That might be the one that jumps out at me, where Evgeny Nabokov and Vesa Toskala, it was kind of both their years. And then the Sharks went with Vesa Toskala, and that worked for a while, and then it didn't work. And,
yeah,
what happens again?
Toskala playing 1 game, then Nabi playing 2 games, and you're just don't know what's going on here.
Yeah. It's been a while since Carolina. Congrats on your playoff berth. It's been a while since the Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup, but that year they switched their goalies like 4 times in the playoffs. So.
Yeah, but also the Hurricanes had a pretty solid defensive core.
For sure.
Sure. I think Rittermore was still on that team.
A
young one, though. So, what's your current read on the NHL playoffs? Like, who do you think's going to come out?
The NHL or the AHL?
NHL.
The NHL playoffs. Well, it is Tampa's to lose. It's Tampa's cup to lose. With all the points that they put, what do they have? Like 125 points this season, 27 points this season.
I think it's 128, something like that. They're just
right. I know Kucherov had 128 points. It's somewhere close to that in the standings.
Outrageous.
Yeah, definitely. It is their cup to lose. And I remember last season when Barry Trotz, when the Capitals knocked out the Lightning in the Eastern Conference Finals, Barry Trotz had that nice handshake with John Cooper and basically said, your time is coming. Your time is coming, And I believe him because I think John Cooper's an amazing coach. Maybe this is their year. However, something about Nashville, who almost blew the lead on the Central division to the St. Louis Blues, which is mind-boggling to me. But there's just something about Nashville that I feel like they've been very good, but a little inconsistent. But I think they're the kind of team that can pull it all together in the playoffs when it matters, unless they're playing the Sharks, of course.
Yeah, of course. I almost can say the same thing about Winnipeg. Winnipeg had a 10-point lead halfway through the season on their division, but they collapsed. They just haven't had chemistry on all three lines. And I just don't think they've quite been the same team this year. I don't know what's going on with that team, but I'm not going to make any internet jokes, but it'd be a pretty solid start to go.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what's going on with Winnipeg. I mean, this season has been just ripe with inconsistency. You talk about the goaltending, you talk about teams. I mean, we can go for days about the Martin Jones, Aaron Dell fiasco and whatnot, but I still say, what team's been happy with their goaltending this season? Sure, the Sharks have been near the bottom in that regard, but I mean, outside of Marc-Andre Fleury and Pekka Rinne and the Islanders goaltending, I don't think anybody else has been happy with it. So, and even in the standings, you look, there were 7 teams got 100 points. Everyone else was below 100 points. When was the last time that happened? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, even in the bottom teams, there's only like 4 bottom teams that you would automatically write off. But
yeah,
you have teams like Chicago, Arizona that were in it to like the last 2 weeks, and this current point system allows a lot of teams to still be in it. I'm talking about major markets, which is exactly what the NHL wants, but isn't always best for the NHL in a way.
Yeah. You talk about the parity, and right now it has been a weird parity this season. We've talked about how nobody in the Western Conference, those bottom teams, wanted to make the playoffs. Colorado finally decided they wanted it. I mean, they went coming into tonight's game. I believe the Avalanche had not lost in regulation in 10 or 11 straight games, something like that.
They were 8-2, which is
8-0-2. Yeah,
8-0-2. Pretty phenomenal start or finish to their season. McKinnon finished with only 99 points. I mean, I don't feel too bad for him that he didn't get one more point.
He had his chances tonight, though. Boy, he looks scary for the Avalanche. AJ said it earlier. He looks scary.
I think, I guess he's now the best skater on the AHL now that McDavid sadly got that injury, and we'll talk about that in a second. But McKinnon has always had the talent, just the people around him maybe not have been the best locker room presence, and I'm obviously referring to Matt Duchene.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing well, Columbus.
Yeah.
Why don't we get into the other scores? I don't believe there are a lot of other games tonight.
It is. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I've been paying only attention to the AHL like this whole week. So tonight is the last night of the NHL season, right? There's no games tomorrow, right?
No, this is, I think, the last official day.
All right.
Yep, there are no games scheduled for tomorrow. So
cool.
Today is officially where all the games are counted up and you see the points and where you stand. There was apparently, there's a bunch of games. There's about 13 or 12.
Yeah, because at the end of the season, I figure there's only one team, I would guess. I'm guessing there's 15 games and only one team would.
But frankly, for the Sharks, there's only the points haven't really mattered for the past 4 games. They've locked up their spot.
Yeah, but how they played has mattered. Like how they are going into this. That's why I think tonight's game was important to. Yeah,
one thing I wanted to talk about is I'm surprised Ryan started over Heat tonight. I mean, he's been playing great, but Ryan has been more inconsistent with the time he's had on ice. So I figured he would have gotten another chance with Erik Carlsson, who just came back.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where you're trying to get your guys to work out the kinks. So, I mean, they have been able to depend on Heat, and they haven't been able to depend on Joakim Ryan ever since he lost his roster spot. It's hard to gain consistency when you're not playing consistently. So I think it's okay that he played tonight. I would not expect him to play in the playoffs. And even if there is an injury, just one injury, if there's two, he'd probably get in. But if there's an injury on the back line, I think he's the one who definitely gets in there. I do think it's funny, though, that the Sharks, outside of Gustav Nyquist, I believe the fan appreciation night lineup was the same as the opening night lineup. Nyquist and Haley aside.
Yeah.
So Haley, like all the guys in suits, Heed, Shimmick, same story as the start of the year.
All right, let's get into the reach around. I do not have the soundboard, so if you want to type that in the chat, go ahead.
Something like that.
Yes.
There you go.
All right, Lightning Bruins. Lightning won again, to no surprise, 6-3 over the Bruins. Frankly, they've locked up the top spot in the Eastern Conference about 2 months ago.
Yeah. Big statement game, though. I do want to jump in on that real quick. Big statement game of the Lightning, even though definitely the best team. But to me, the only other team that can compete with the Lightning in the East is Boston. And I think the Lightning beat them the last 3 times. So
are we writing off Toronto? It seems like that's been the kind of the message for the past month. Like their goaltending has been shaky, but they still have 3 decent lines. They have Austin Matthews, Tavares, and of course they have a lot of great talent, forward talent on that team.
My preseason prediction was that Toronto would be out in the first round. And I think because I want to see it happen just to make the Maple Leaf fans squirm, I'm just going to stick with it. The Maple Leafs are out in the first round, and they blew it tonight, too.
I want all hell to break loose. I want Islanders in Toronto, and I want the Islanders to beat Toronto in Toronto to advance to the Stanley Cup final.
Wow. Yes.
That's what I want, but that's probably not going to happen. All right. So the other scores, Canucks, Blues over Canucks 3-2. Again, I don't think this game really did matter. Of course, Blues are in the playoffs. They've locked up that top spot, but they just fall just short of locking up the top spot in their division.
Yeah.
That's kind of the major point there.
The fact that they even got in, though, I mean, the first half of the season, everyone was saying, what's wrong with the Blues, or these guys suck. There was nothing good to be said about this team until Jordan Binnington took the reins, and now here they are, 99 points, I believe. And so good for St. Louis.
Yeah. And then Maple Leafs, probably the game to watch tonight was Maple Leafs and Canadiens 5-6. Canadiens won.
In shootout.
Yeah, really great.
Go ahead.
It was a really great game to watch. I think. Go ahead, Lacy.
I was going to say it's Bob Cole's final broadcast, so that was cool to watch. I mean, that was probably 75% of the draw was just that. That's why I tuned in, but it was a hell of a game. And Ryan Poehling getting his first 3 NHL goals and the winner in the shootout. Like, wow. Way to start your career, Ryan Poehling, a guy I really wanted the Sharks to draft.
And then Blue Jackets over the Senators 6-2. Congrats, Senators. You finished the season. That's essentially the story. And you're still a team, apparently.
For now.
Technically. Sabres and Red Wings. Sabres won 7-1.
Wow.
7 goals. You put up a touchdown. That's not bad.
Yeah.
The
Sabres finished how they started. I mean, they bookended the season. It was just everything between November and the beginning of April that was the problem.
Yeah, I mean, the two teams I'm kind of looking forward to seeing is what the Red Wings are going to do. But are they going to continue with this youth movement, or are they going to try to spend on the free agency to get more people to that new arena, which it looks nice, but I don't think it has that charm of the old stadium quite yet.
Good call.
Moving on, Devils and Panthers, 4-3. Devils over Panthers. Devils not the greatest year after having a good bounce back year. Most of that's Taylor Hall not being the same player, or he could be injured.
Having Corey Schneider out for 2/3 of the season did not help them either. I mean, Keith Kincaid is a goalie that I like, but I mean, in a backup role. Now he's not even with them anymore. They had to rely on their youngster Mackenzie Blackwood for a chunk of the season. Yeah, it just wasn't to be for New Jersey.
Yeah. Hurricanes, those jerks beat the Flyers. Hey, you made it to the playoffs for the first time in almost 10 years. Honestly, this game didn't really matter, but
it did though, because wasn't it Columbus and Carolina were trying to not play Tampa in round one?
Yeah, but I think no matter what, I think they're slotted into that just because of a division
Columbus
record.
Won.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I give Carolina a lot of credit. I think they have a lot of speed on that team. I think they have a lot of youth. But once again, Capitals playoff experience, and I'm just you have to wonder.
Carolina's playing. Carolina's playing Washington. Columbus drew Tampa.
Yep.
No.
Rangers over Penguins 4-3. Kind of a rebuild year, a transition year for the Rangers. I think that kind of just says it all. They traded a lot of great players at the trade deadline. Islanders 3 over Capitals. Probably the surprise team of the year is the Islanders, and Barry Trotz probably deserves the Coach of the Year award with how much improvement that team made without Tavares.
Yeah.
Blackhawks 2 over Blackhawks lost to the Predators 5-2. That win locked up the division. And I think they have 100 points now, which essentially locked it up for them. And then Stars over Wild 3-0. And then the other kind of important game was Jets over Coyotes 4-2, but that really the Jets needed the Nashville Predators to lose in order to get the division, and that didn't happen.
Yeah. Like you said, the Jets are just trying to find consistency, I think, here. So it's a good win going into the playoffs, just like the Sharks. It's a good win going into the playoffs, but another meaningless game, especially after the Coyotes weren't able to get in. Nice run for them. They're a team they'll be to watch next year, especially when Antti Raanta comes back in net.
I would say one of the most interesting stat lines tonight is Kings over the Golden Knights, and Fleury did actually play that game. So still kind of coming back, just like Erik Carlsson. But we don't really quite know how healthy Fleury's going to be and who's going to start game one when everything gets shaped up, or either on Wednesday or Thursday when the Sharks versus the Vegas Golden Knights start.
Mr. Fleury's got to be there. I mean, if the Sharks are going to play Erik Carlsson, I have to think Marc-Andre Fleury will be in net. I mean, boy, it's been a rough go. The Golden Knights were so hot coming out of the trade deadline with Mark Stone and everything falling into alignment and whatnot.
Yeah.
But they started to realize Malcolm Subban was in net. And when that happened, I'm not saying the wheels fell off the train, because that's far from the case. Vegas is going to be a hell of an opponent for the Sharks. Really tough series, but they're going to ride Fleury. If he's at 60%, I'd still use him over Subban.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Mark Stone trade. I thought that was a great addition. But I think they're one of their main weaknesses is still the defensive core in that team. And then when you hear about the contract that Stone signed for $9.5 million, You better hope that that's a deal for them that goes for a long time.
You better hope you're staying competitive during that deal, because you don't sign that deal and then waste his best years rebuilding. Like,
and you have to figure for Vegas's position, they only have 1 or 2 more years of the Vegas spotlight to themselves.
That's
Oakland
true.
Raiders are moving to Las Vegas, so it wouldn't surprise me if ownership gets a little bit more, go all in now than.
Yep.
But
and Fleury's not getting younger.
Yeah, and of course, Sharks beats the Colorado Avalanche 5-2, and we didn't have to tear our hair out because worried about a third period like the last 12 games.
And Erik Carlsson survived the game. That's the biggest takeaway for me, is they survived the game. And that Gustav Nyquist played really, really freaking good.
Yeah, I mean, Erik Carlsson played close to 17 minutes tonight. So one thing didn't take you too long to come back.
Not too long. We had to pack up some stuff.
You're muted.
Say goodbye to some people, and now we're cool.
Actually, I don't think you're muted. I think your audio is just not.
No, I hear him. You probably just need to reload. It's
gotcha. Yeah, it's doing some weird things. I think all three of us are logged into Teal,
but
yeah,
I can't hear Kev, and Kev can't hear me. Is that what it is?
Hey, Kevin, do you want to just jump off or refresh?
Apparently that's sayonara, guys.
See ya.
So anyway, I will see you at the Barracuda
Adios,
playoffs,
amigos.
and I will see you
We got
at
a
game 2 of the Sharks playoffs.
Kevin,
as well.
thank you so much for coming on and doing the Barracuda talk. Really helpful.
Yeah, no worries. Have a good night, guys.